Hey everyone, my guest today is Sara Alessandrini. Sara is an Italian filmmaker based in Los Angeles that just released a documentary miniseries called This Is What New Yorkers Say. The miniseries explores the resignation of former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo through media coverage and conversations with everyday New Yorkers. Sara spent the last 5 years of her life following New York politics and the events surrounding Cuomo's resignation, and in 2021, a few months after his resignation, she traveled around New York State to hear what New Yorkers had to say about his resignation and the way the Democratic Party and the news media handled the situation. The documentary takes the audience through the accusations against Cuomo to unveil a larger conversation about our society and the way we avoid dealing with complex issues. The series further questions the limits of the Me Too movement in empowering women and discusses the dangers of a society where due process is not given to all people equally. Welcome, Sara.
I thought that your project looked very interesting, and I think it's very timely considering the New York City mayoral race. And I just wanted to know what inspired you to create it.
Hi, Sam. Thank you so much for having me. So it's a pleasure to be here at your podcast, first of all. So first of all, actually, like I started this project years ago. So as soon as Cuomo resigned in 2021, that's when I actually started. Like 2 months after he resigned, I started filming the interviews. So I'm
Mhm.
glad you're saying it's timely because like I spent like the last 4 years working on it, and I was like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
late, I'm late, I'm late, and then like glad you feel that it's timely.
Yeah.
No, I was just like a person. I live actually in Los Angeles, so I'm not a New Yorker. I don't live there. I never lived there. I love New York, obviously, but
Mhm.
I was just like everybody. I was watching the situation. Like I was during it was during COVID. That's when I started like watching Governor Cuomo, his press conferences, and then when the accusation were made, then that's where I was like, well, wait a second, something here doesn't make sense, or if it makes sense, let's stop for a second, let's ask ourselves questions like, is this true? Let's go. Let's figure it out. Let's not assume anything. Just because someone gets accused, it doesn't mean necessarily that something is true. Everybody
Mhm.
deserves the process, and I was just like so mad seeing like how people they jump on the bandwagon, like the politician, the media, like on that side, everybody was just reacting to it, and even people who said, like, even talking to people, regular people here, how they loved him, and they were like, oh, but now the accusation were made, so now we're done with him. And
Yeah.
to me that was like bad on the political level, because obviously like that's politics, it's not real government, it's not like the law. The media
Mhm.
is bad because they're supposed to do their job, like during due diligence, doing researches, and being the people that actually are there, like people trust is supposed to trust the media with this stuff. And actually they were just like interested in clicks more than they were actually interested in actually finding the truth or questioning the accusation. And on
Mhm.
this societal level, to me that was terrible. Like, how can you like someone and just like in a second like that just change your mind about someone without even giving them a chance to respond?
Yeah.
So that to me was like too much. I was like, I have to do something here. I have to hear what actually people really have to say in New York. I and to have this bigger conversation, because the documentary, like the series starts, it's about Cuomo obviously throughout,
Mhm.
but it's also an opportunity to have like a bigger conversation about definitely like Me Too movement and women empowerment in general, like about all these movements that have been
Mhm.
happening like all these years. So we're like, okay, there is a movement now. Everybody just care about what they have to say and not
Right.
questioning anything. You have to take everything face value. So it was like all this conversation that I felt like we needed to have.
Mhm.
And that's what sparked it.
Yeah. It was interesting to me that because you see the media turn on people all the time, but he was so well loved, and then suddenly it's, oh, he's kind of dead to everybody. But is he doing all right in the mayoral race right now? Last I knew he was like one of the top 3. So do you think some people have forgotten about that a little bit or
Yeah, like
gotten
it's
over?
very like that's a like the weirdest like mayoral race I've ever seen in my life,
Yeah.
honestly. Because like it's also like it's everything is based on what the media says. It's not about
Uh-huh.
the reality. So that's where it gets confusing, because like now, like, so he was running, everybody thought he was like the leading person during the primary. Then he
Yeah.
lost. And but then the media started acting as if like no one in New York voted him for him. People acted as if like everybody hated him, no one wanted him. It's like he actually got 440,000 votes once you put together everything. So it's not that he didn't get any vote. But
Yeah.
Mamdani, the person that is running against him, so he won 570,000. So
Okay.
so there is a big difference, but again, it's not that like no one voted for Cuomo. It was the second
Right.
one, obviously. And uh and yeah, so like he actually got the same amount, like he got more votes than what Mayor Eric Adams got back in 2021. So he got a lot of votes. So
Wow. Yeah.
it's not true what people say is like he lost, like it was like shame, it was like, so like all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff was not true. But Mamdani, who is like 33 years old, he got a lot of new people to register, so there were
Hmm.
more voters like it in the 20 30 bracket compared to previous mayoral races. So
Yeah.
he registered more people. Like, but again, we have like 1 million people voted, and I think like the voters in general for the general election are 6 million people. So that obviously has a lot to do, because like during the primary, not everybody votes. Most people
Hmm.
don't vote. So you have like more people that tend to be more to the left that vote in the primary, and especially in this case, a lot of people um yeah, just like voted more than people expected them. So
Yeah.
he definitely got a lot of votes. And but now we're going to the general election, so obviously like it's going to be a different type of people, because more people
Hmm.
will show up for voting, more people in the center, and people that are Republican can also vote for him, while because it's like a closed election, the primary, like you only people that are registered to be Democrat can vote in the primary. So people that
Right.
might be independent didn't vote. The people that are registered as Republican couldn't vote. So yeah,
Okay.
that has a lot to do with that. So now the question, like, can he win? So there are all these different polls that are like
Uh-huh.
showing up, and they all pretty much show the same thing. Like Mamdani is around like 40%, so 40, 42, 46, depending on the poll. Cuomo has more around like 26%, so it's
Okay.
far. But then also there is like Eric Adams, then he
Yeah.
has like a 9%, and then there is Curtis Lewa, which is like the Republican candidate, who is like 15% more or less. So if you put all
Okay.
the three candidates together, that the Cuomo, Adams, and Sliwa, it's more vote than what Mamdani would get. So
Hmm.
that's what the conversation in New York is about. People are saying two candidates should drop the races so that like everybody can focus on one candidate. Since because
Yeah.
Mamdani has like all this ideology that is like
Yeah.
socialist ideology, so people that are in the center don't like that. Like regular Democrats don't like that, Republicans don't like that. So that's where everybody's like talking about gathering towards like together with one candidate, and so that that person can win, which for a lot of people obviously is bad. Anyone is better than Mamdani.
Right.
So that's where the conversation is, and there is like a lot of drama nowadays, because they say, okay, Eric Adams, sometimes they think he might drop, sometimes he says he doesn't drop, but he has like
Hmm.
a very low approval rate. So definitely, it's a lot of people think he should drop. But again, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter, because like their name is going to be on the ballot no matter what, because they already passed the deadline where they could remove their
Oh,
name. Yeah, because there was
okay.
actually another candidate, Jim Walden, who had like
Okay.
1%. So he decided to drop the race, but because he did it after a specific date, now he cannot drop the name anymore. He tried, but it's
Hmm.
still on the ballot. So at the end of the day, it's up to the people. Like they know, everybody knows Cuomo is the person who has the most chance of winning. So
Yeah.
people will have to decide if they want to go for the candidate they prefer, or the one that they think is gonna has the best chance of winning. So
Yeah. Okay. You bring in important information to that because I what I read just from Iowa, is like is that oh, Mamdani's got it. He's gonna win. Well, if you take into consideration, like you pointed out, that independents didn't vote, that there's a lot of different people that haven't voted yet, the numbers could turn out to be very different in the general election. Um, so I suppose they're going to have to decide who they're going to rally behind, and it's looking like it's Cuomo
Cuomo,
then.
like all the polls are saying Cuomo is the leading candidate.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's where everybody's like agreeing. Everybody was talking about maybe like mid-September, so we're already kind of past that.
Mhm.
Should decide what to do. So because like Jim Walden was proposing of like this thing, like looking at the polls, and then based on the polls, the one that has the best chance should stay, and the one that like don't have a chance, they should drop. Cuomo agreed to that plan, but the other two didn't. So then it's
Okay.
still like that.
Yeah.
So that's been the conversation. But again, to me, I'm like the people can still choose whoever they
Yep.
think like, and people vote for all kind of reason. Like it's people vote for like that's where like I think the conversation has been like these years when there is like so much division between left and right. It's like, oh, you voted for this person, that means you're this and that, and that's
Right.
like not accurate, and it's not good for society in general, because like people vote for people for all kinds of reasons, not because like you're a woman you need to vote depending on whatever the fact, just because you're a woman or
Yeah.
whatever. Like sometimes you care more about the economy, sometimes you care more about the person, sometimes you're more worried about the policies the other person will do compared to this person. Can be
Mhm.
all kinds of reasons. So at the end of the day, people will have to decide what they prefer of doing, even if maybe some people don't like Cuomo, but they might still vote for him. And actually,
Yeah.
there was this article that just came out from like the New York Times. It was interesting because it was like talking about the different people, like asking people. It was another poll. So, why, like, would you ever vote for Mandani? Would you ever vote for Cuomo? And they both have like the same percentage of people that would never vote for them. Like, it was around
Oh,
33%. So then they
yeah.
ask why you would never vote for that candidate. So for Mamdani, most people were saying because of his policies, because of his ideology. Cuomo was like, I don't know if it was like 70% of people said because I don't like his character, his personality. So
Oh,
I thought
yeah.
that was like so interesting. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
you would never vote. So you're agreeing that his policies are good. You agree that he's the one who's going to get the job done. You agree that, but you don't like him as a person. So you're never going to vote for that. So that's
Yeah.
interesting.
Is it's kind of it's it shouldn't be this way, but it is, that it's a personality contest too. Like someone could have a terrible personality but excellent policy ideas, and they're not going to get in because people don't want to listen to them or whatever. But
Yeah, I mean that says a lot about our society for
yeah.
sure. It's and where we are now. It's like you should care more about the policies that the person is going to do. Are they going to get the job done? Instead, everybody is worried about other stuff. I mean, like I keep saying, like this is the most superficial race I've ever seen. Like the type of question, the things like
Oh.
they've been accused of, like Cuomo's been accused of not being a New Yorker enough when he's been born and raised. He served New York around the city, the state, as attorney general, governor. Like he's been
Mhm.
in New York pretty much all his life, except when he was like in the Clinton administration. Accused of not being enough a New Yorker because he didn't live full time in New York City. The question about how do you respond when like they ask you what's the sandwich that you prefer eating, and the order that you say the ingredients is wrong, like all that kind of stuff. It was like it's crazy.
That see that I mean, I guess it shouldn't surprise me, but to me the one thing that did stick out with him was, like, regardless of how you feel about him handling COVID or the accusations of sexual impropriety, he he I think you can tell he loves New York. And when he does speak about certain things, he seems genuine. It's so that's an interesting thing for them. And yeah, kind of pivoting, does Mom Donnie love New York? Because it seems like he wants to change quite a lot of things. So that's
I
an
mean, and that's
interesting
like
thing.
also like the interesting thing. Like also the people that accuse him of that are also people that were not even born in New York. Which
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
Mamdani was not born in New York, and like he barely had any job in his life actually. So that's one of the big concerns. Is
Oh.
like he barely worked because like
Mhm.
he like previous experience. Yeah, he was a consultant on some of other campaigns. Like obviously he's assemblyman right now. But before that, like he tried to have a music like career in Uganda, so not even here. So he was like part of like some like campaigning, yeah, groups not even here in New York. They're in New
Mhm.
York. I'm not in New York. But yeah, so like he had a very little experience. He worked on his mom's movie. So that's
Mhm.
where like to me it's like the crazy thing, the people that support Mamdani, they think that he's someone that he's really not.
Yeah.
So they think that he's the voice of like the working class, he's the voice of like the real people, people that struggle. But he's not someone who struggles. Like he's from a wealthy family actually,
Right.
because like his mom is a filmmaker, his father is like a Columbia professor. So he went to private schools, very expensive. So
Mhm.
he had the choice. Like he never like lived like that poor life. So
Right.
which is to me it's interesting because I feel like most people that like espouse like socialist ideology, they are those kind of like wealthy people. They are not the poor people who starts those kind of moments. So
Yeah.
but that's the
That's
thing,
a good
like
point.
people don't realize that like he barely even worked in his life. So he became the voice of the people when he's not. And Cuomo, because they think like, oh, Cuomo is like his father is was a governor. Yeah, but Cuomo
Mhm.
like started like everybody else. Actually, he was working like as a mechanic, like a tow truck. So he was like
Yeah.
working too to pay for like his school. He was not just like born like with all the like
Yeah.
he had all the opportunity, but he still worked every day. So he did regular jobs, Cuomo. And
Yeah.
so it's funny like when people like talk about Mamdani and like, oh, he's like one of us, and Cuomo is like so detached from the real life, when actually to me it's the opposite. So yeah,
Yeah.
and you can see that actually in the way in the voting, because like during the primary, like Cuomo won the majority of like neighborhood that have like low income, and and the
Okay.
black communities. So those are the communities where like he got the most votes. When Mandani was very popular in Manhattan, so he
Mhm.
actually was like he was more like I think like it's the gentrification. It's what's giving Mandani actually an edge.
Mhm.
So it's more about that. But yeah, like people in the Bronx, they tend to be very much like supporting Cuomo. A good part of Queens too. So yeah,
Yeah.
you see that in the voting, but people don't realize actually like they just think that Mandani is one of them, but he's not.
Yeah. It'll be election day will be interesting for New York. I hope people show up and something good happens for them.
Yeah. I mean,
So,
it's a very important election over there. I was there like what was it, a week ago? So I
mhm.
was there like near like the like where people are volunteering for campaigns,
Mhm.
and people stop there and like yeah, you see like very two different things. So like you see some people are like, oh, I hope Cuomo wins. He's our only hope. We need to get him into office. So there is one of those, and then there are the people that are like, I'll never vote for Cuomo. so
Yeah.
so you see like these two. So it's very polarized. It's very black and white, I guess. But there are
Yeah.
still obviously a lot of people that are still um, they're still like they are not sure who they want to vote. And
Yeah.
again, it's thing changed. Like I know people that love Cuomo, but they didn't vote for him during the primary. And
Mhm.
now because in that case, like that's the thing. Maybe they love him. It does like just because people didn't vote, like some people didn't vote for him, doesn't mean that they hate him. Maybe they
Right.
like him, but they preferred for the other candidate because he was
Yes.
bringing something new, because it was something different. And I hear a lot of people because Cuomo has like certain age, and which I think it's a issue for this country, like the division between like young people and older people.
Mhm.
So I think it's very strong in this country, that difference. So, but some people are going to prefer to vote for Mamdani just because he's young, while Cuomo is like 67 years old and everything. So, again, there are all kinds of reasons why people vote for someone. But yeah, I do know some people that love Cuomo and they voted for Mamdani during the primary. So now they're learning more about Mamdani. And now they're like, oh, I should go back
Yeah.
to voting for Cuomo because I had no idea. Because also Mamdani was very new during that
Oh,
cycle, like because no one knew who he was.
right.
So he started
Right.
becoming very popular, like TikTok sensation, that kind of stuff. So all the young people also, it's different when like social media, like the young people are the one who are gonna retweet, they're gonna repost, like all
Hmm.
that stuff. People that maybe vote for Cuomo are not that like social
They're
media
not even on
obsessed
TikTok,
people.
maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe they do, but they are not gonna have that behavior. So like it's hard to say what the numbers really will be for the election because if you look about the social media, okay, Mamdani gets so many millions views, but again, first of all, a lot of those views are like outside of New York City, so you cannot really say, obviously,
Yeah.
why the people that Cuomo will get the likes are more likely to be from New York, maybe except me and other few people that are outside. But yeah, so that's the thing. Like and yeah, now the people are learning much more about Mamdani, like his job before, like as an assemblyman too, because like a lot of like the policies, like they're just hearing from him, like now what he's suggesting for this like campaign, but they had no idea what actually he was supporting back then. So now there is a lot of talk about like legalization of prostitution. So he was a strong supporter of that. So that was
Yeah.
never like a conversation during the campaign, during the primary. But now it's coming out, like all this kind of stuff that he was supporting, like of course defund the police. He's like
Hmm.
very much to the left, so they're all like defunding the police. They want to legalize prostitution, and the DSA, if you look at their manifesto, has like very strong things like closing jails, like removing all misdemeanors. So, like all those policies that he maybe doesn't support as a candidate, but the party that he's part of, the DSA, the Democratic Socialist of America, uh, supports. So
Hmm.
there are a lot of those conversations, those questions in New York right now because it's like, do you support this thing that you supported in the past? So he's trying to say that's not the part of my campaign, but still, we still want question. We still have this question because, like, are you going to still promote these things once you're elected in office, even if you're not talking about that during the campaign? So there are a lot of
Yeah.
questions, and people are learning more about that. So
Yeah. I suppose the one thing, the thing that Cuomo has going for him is they've already dragged him through the mud, and people know what they're getting with him, whereas they don't with Mom Donnie. That
I know that's what I thought too. It's like, well, you cannot get any worse accusations for him because if someone had something bad to say about him, they would have said that like back then. So
yes,
this accusation that he has is probably the worst that he can get. Which again,
yeah,
if you actually look at the accusation that he got, there are a lot of question about that, and most of
yeah,
those were like, okay, he was like kissing me on the cheek, some of those people, which again, he's like an Italian American man.
mhm,
So obviously we should understand that that's a different culture, different way of doing things. It's not necessarily like a sexual thing, kissing someone on the cheek. So some of those accusations were those, some of the others were like, oh, you made a comment that made me uncomfortable. Again, you have all the rights to be uncomfortable, but
mhm,
again, that doesn't mean the person should be impeached. Doesn't mean that the person should lose their job, they should lose their life. We have to put
yeah,
things like in perspective. So, and the ones that actually were more about sexual harassment, like there was one where like the person said that he grabbed her breast,
mhm,
things like those. Like there is still no proof to any of those because there were like
yeah,
a lot of investigation, and like especially for that case, the person like couldn't even figure out which day that happened. Every time she brought one day, they found proof that like that could not have happened on that specific date. So,
mhm,
and then there is the question, like all the information that they are not sharing because the attorney general is not sharing the information with Cuomo about what they had against him. So he got to see just only some of
yeah,
the evidence against him. So he requested, he sued to try to get that information. but he's still not getting everything because like they're trying to say like it's confidential because like they're afraid for the safety of the person who made the accusation, like how like certain things are getting protected, and
Yeah.
she's still working on that. Like there are still so many lawsuits for like his accusation, like because some of them like sued him,
Yeah.
um and like one of them actually sued him. They were going like for 2 years, like back and forth, and then the week or two before she was supposed to be on the road to answer question from Cuomo's team, she dropped
Oh.
the lawsuit against him. So
Oh,
it's like if you like you were there going back and forth for 2 years, but then suddenly before you actually supposed to answer a question, then you drop the case.
yeah.
That's shady. So then he
Yeah.
sued her for defamation at this point. So that's still going. And of course the conversation is like people are really not interested in the truth. That's what drives me crazy because it's like,
Mhm.
okay, if you're interested in the truth, then let's have a conversation. But instead, people are like, oh, he's evil because he's suing the person, he's hurting her again, over and over. It's like, yeah, but people deserve due process. They deserve the right to for their defense. And
Yeah.
people are not allowed to defend themselves. Like everybody keeps saying, like, "Oh, you should just apologize." It's like if I didn't do anything that you're accusing me of, why should I apologize? And that's an
Right.
issue that we've been having in society, like on so many level. Like that's where like my documentary is about Cuomo, but it's really more about these topics because and every person has had an experience with that. That you don't
Mhm.
have to be the governor, you don't have to be high profile person. Like everybody had these issues in their life, being accused of something, not being able to defend themselves, people believing some stuff. Like we have seen that for years, and it needs to stop. That's where like I believe that people need to
Yeah.
stop reacting to things and just start thinking.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking while watching this, I was thinking about how with the Me Too movement, some things were great. You were able to call people out for being like pervs or skis balls, but I think that a lot of things were taken too far because there was no proof. And I don't think that you should be able to just if there's no proof, we don't know if you're just making it up for attention. All these years later, where suddenly there's a platform for you, which maybe it really happened, and having that platform is a good thing. But it also opens it up for people to abuse that, and I think that it might be good for people to know. Oh yeah, okay, this person is a perv. Like, stay clear of them, but then there's the weaponizing the accusations, which it did seem as though they used that against Cuomo and abused it. Particularly with the what you're talking about with the attorney general and kind of blocking him on certain things. Do you think that he would have received as much scrutiny for the COVID nursing home deaths if he hadn't already been a subject of scrutiny?
Um, I mean, like to me, like he's really getting too much scrutiny for that, honestly. Because, like to me, yeah, the nursing home, it's a topic that like every city, every state, every country in the world had to deal with during COVID.
Hmm.
So it feels to me like he's the only one who's getting the attention and like
Yeah.
scrutiny, like that he's the only one who did the bad job. And I'm happy to talk about like I have a lot of opinions about the nursing home too. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean it's hard to say about the nursing homes because like I don't I think it's I mean I feel like it's kind of like more the people that are more Republican tend to question this on the nursing home,
Mhm.
while the sexual harassment accusation is more the people on the left, like Democrats,
Yeah.
that are
So he's getting
attacking
it from
him
both
for.
sides.
So which
Yeah.
is interesting to me. It's like and also like in this article that the New York Times did about these people that would never vote for Cuomo, the majority is like Democrats. So it's very weird. It was I don't know if it was something like crazy, like 90% was Democrats that would never vote for Cuomo, which is pretty crazy because he was
Mhm.
really the hero of the left of the Democrats
Yeah.
back during COVID. So, but again, the left started going way much to the left. And so Cuomo,
Hmm.
who is more like a moderate, like Cuomo has always been someone who wants to talk to both sides of the aisle. Like that's how he got things done, because he was able to
Yeah.
talk to Republicans. Like he had good relationship with the Republicans too, not only with Democrats. So so he was someone in the middle, and now where we are at the time that is so polarized, being in the middle and being able to work and talk to all kind of people, it seemed as like I don't know if it's a weakness or something just like wrong. Like yeah,
Right.
I live in Los Angeles and I talk to people, they're like very leftist here, and like yeah, they perceive Cuomo to be too much similar to Trump. And I'm like, that was never
Really?
the case. It was never the case. But because yeah, people are going so much left and Cuomo is more like in the center, and that's the problem. I mean, like so you also made an episode about like Charlie Kirk. So
Yeah.
it's like there is no, it's not possible for certain people don't really want to have a conversation, and it's
Hmm.
like, and it's terrible right now. Like you need to be able to talk to people. Like not everybody is a monster, but like for these people that are like very much to the left, just the fact that you talk to people who have different opinion of you, like you have to state I don't agree with their opinion. Like why, like this Charlie Kirk thing drive me crazy, why everybody have to start a conversation, I don't agree with these opinions, but he should not have been killed. It's like, why do you
Yeah.
even need to say that? Like first of all, how many people do you know in your life? Do you agree 100% with all your people? Like if I had to be friends with only people that I agree with, I would have no friends, like
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because it's not like you have to be like, "Oh, my friend Jenny, I don't agree with everything she does, but we're like I don't have to justify." That's so
It's so
funny
weird.
to
Like,
think
of
about it
course,
that
I
way.
don't agree. Like, like, I'm more like Democrat. I'm on the Democrat side, but like with
Uh-huh.
all my friends that are Democrats, I don't agree pretty much anything of what they have to say. And like, I agree
Yeah.
on certain thing with Democrats. I agree on certain thing on Republicans. That
Mhm.
just should be life. But people are so. It's funny to me that the people that claim they are not binary, they actually have this black and white thinking. That it's
Uh-huh.
very binary. It's like everybody just believe the same things. And for me, coming from another country and seeing like how like okay, you can see how a person look like, and you know exactly what they believe in, and that like outside of this country is not that true. Like people can look like in a certain way and could have like very different type of thinking, but here like you can like look at the person on the street and be like, oh, I think this person votes for this person believe this and that. It's a little
Yeah.
too much like people are put themselves inside boxes, and
Yeah.
like and we're losing the ability of having nuanced conversations, and that's the thing. When you're not willing to talk to people from the other aisle, it's
Yeah.
like it's not good for society.
Yeah. When did you come here?
10 years ago.
Okay. So, how has it changed? Oh, I feel like things were really kind of getting crazy. You came when stuff really started getting crazy, because it didn't used to be like that, where you could just look at someone and be like, "Oh, they're obviously a liberal." A, lo- I feel I feel like before 2015, um maybe a little, well, I don't know, it might have started escalating in 2012, 2013, but before then I don't remember ever really knowing whether my friends were Republicans or conservatives. Politics weren't such a hot topic. It wasn't such a hot topic back then, and people also didn't care as much if you weren't voting the same way. But it's become so polarized now that I wish our country was like other countries, where you didn't it wasn't like that. You could just be
Yeah,
nice
you
to
could still have
anybody.
friends of people that are different politically from you. Like that's the good thing about Italy. Like we can yell at each other, but then at the end of the day, we're gonna go to have a beer together, wine together. Like yeah, that's the beauty of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, I came here with 2015, so it was
Uh-huh.
like the last year pretty much of Obama. I was
Mhm.
here when Trump got elected. So,
Yep.
I mean, even for me, like, I didn't feel that much. I was not even following politics back then. Like, it was not a part of like everybody's life, politics that much. So, even like during Trump's first term, like, I guess it was, but it wasn't like now, like,
Mhm.
you have to care about everything. I feel like more since COVID, things started getting very heated.
Yeah.
the Black Lives Matter movement, like at that point, and then like every year feels like it's been a different movement and they're
Mhm.
pushing. So yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, it didn't feel like that crazy back then. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
definitely like now it feels like very polarized. And I don't know if it's like also like the environment where I am right now, like the place I've been working with people are very much to the left. While before even I was working with people that
Right.
were not like they had their opinion, but they would just like focus on work. But yeah,
Yeah.
now it's like it's just like bad and like I like what Bill Maher said the other day. After Charlie Kirk was killed, like at this
Mm.
point, like the division is not between left and right; it's between people that want a war and people who don't want a war. Because I feel like
Mhm.
yeah, it's been that polarized. Like even the workplace, like for Luigi Mangione, like a person that worked there, she wears like a T-shirt like glorifying Mangione, and it's like it's
Oh,
horrible. Like the other day, she was
yeah.
wearing another vest that I think looked like what Tyler Robinson was wearing during the trial that when they were
Oh,
like doing the counts. So like I hope I'm wrong. I hope she was not wearing that, but for
yeah.
the type of person, I think she probably was wearing something like that as a because like people are really glorifying these people and it's horrible. It's like it's
Yeah.
not even left and right because like there are a lot of people like both on the left and both on the right that this doesn't matter who is being killed or whatever that they say okay this was wrong. They can admit that was wrong. Doesn't matter what his opinions were. Like
Mhm.
like yeah that should be but that's where like I think there is a growing division and like yeah definitely like when they kill Charlie like it feels like even for me that I'm on the other side feels like a turning point and I actually like Charlie like I was listening a lot
Yeah.
of like his videos. I feel people like really they're what they're saying that he said that he believed it's totally wrong. That's not what he said and they're always cherry picking like things. They're not
Mhm.
seeing the full conversation and that's terrible and that's the point like they're doing that with everybody. So like I mean whether it's the left or whether it's the right there is like this thing where like you have to destroy people and
Yeah.
and I mean even like with Cuomo obviously like that's where like I also started because the media was saying that he was saying certain things that's not what I understood when I was hearing what he was saying. So
Yeah.
that's where there is a big problem obviously in society where like people are just trying to create these monsters when actually you actually hear directly from the person who is saying things, then you get a very different picture of who they are and what's happening. But people are not willing to listen. They just want to believe whatever like it's convenient for them. And that's no way to solve the society. And I'm honestly like I'm a Democrat, more on the Democrat side. Let's say I'm
Okay.
nothing. I'm more in the center. And again, I'm not a
Yeah.
citizen, so I don't even need to pick a side. So, but yeah, I always criticize more the Democrats because okay, if you're saying you're the good ones, you're the one that like you're the intelligent one, you're like better than everybody else, then act like that. Then act
Uh-huh.
like talk. We need more conversation. We need to be able to talk and to be able to have different opinions from other people. That's how you grow. You listen to people who have different opinions from you, and then you decide what you want to get and what you don't want to
Yeah.
get. But like this calling people names it's horrible. Like you should stop calling people name. Not everybody is Hitler. Not everybody is a
Mhm.
fascist. So that's where like they're also part of the problem. So
Yep.
and I think we need more like to be able to be in the center where actually we can have this conversation and meet like both sides. But there, and that's like the big thing with Cuomo is like because he's in the center, he always had issues with the far left. Like the far left is like they were the one pushing him, trying to push him out. So
Uh-huh.
actually, there was an article that no one ever talked about from Politico, I think. Yeah, like
Okay.
before he even like was that before the accusation were made or around that time like it was 2021 beginning I think or
Okay.
something like that and like there were people from the left that they were meeting in a clubhouse group to talk finding ways to get rid of Cuomo. So that was happening behind the scenes and that's from the Democratic Party which is like
Yeah.
the far left. So I mean honestly I feel like everybody talks about that that we need more parties because yeah
Yes.
like like also like within the Democrats, that you have the far left, the people who want to be socialist. Great. If you want to have that party, good for you. But that should not be part of the Democrats. It should be split because
Hmm.
they believe in very different things. So they should not be in the same party, and they should not have to pull the Democratic Party to the left, because that's why a lot of people also voted for Trump. People that
Yeah.
like I'm hearing like even a lot of people that support Cuomo that obviously are Democrats. What happened? What the Democratic Party did to him back in 2021? They hated that. Like there was a woman in my documentary, like she's talking about her mom that she was calling Chuck Schumer's office because she was so mad about what the Democratic Party did to Cuomo that
Yeah.
she decided to become an independent and like not
Yeah.
be registered as a Democrat anymore. And that happened, like I know people did that. And even
Yeah.
for this primary, I know different people that they like were registered for Democrats, as Democrats, and now they register as like a unaffiliated after
Okay.
Mamdani won the primary, because like it's two very different ideas.
Yeah.
The Socialist and the Democratic Party, they believe in different things. So
Hmm.
if the Democratic Party is becoming the Socialist party, then people don't want to be part of it. So yeah, I know people that are like, I would rather vote for the right rather than
Yeah.
like actually support the socialists. So it's a it's a complicated situation. So
Yeah.
yeah, and a lot of people
Yeah.
want to be in the center. So there should be a different party too. So
Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to tell you about one of my sponsors real quick. Are you looking for a gift for a music lover, or maybe some apparel to show off your quirky side? Old Glory has you covered. With over 300,000 officially licensed items covering music, sports, entertainment, and pop culture, you're guaranteed to find the perfect item. They even have seasonal gear. My husband enjoys the Beatles and Led Zeppelin apparel, and I love the Billy Idol apparel. I even found items for my fellow plant enthusiasts. This family owned superstore is known for their quality and customer service, offers free standard shipping on all orders, and orders are shipped the same day you purchase. My discount code gives you 15% off your entire order, and it's currently the best deal available. Just visit oldglory.com and enter in my promo code JADE, that's JADE, at checkout.
Yeah. You know, it's funny because like you're talking about a lot of people on the left rejecting Cuomo because he's too far right. But a lot of people on the right, oh, he's a liberal, he's a Democrat, you know, so they won't take him either. Um, so it is funny. And then in so I used to vote Democrat and I switched Republican. So I can see the good on both sides. And I think like you were talking about how sometimes you're arguing or how you argue against leftist views a lot and you're on the left. I do the same on the right because I'm holding my party to a higher standard. You know, I'm like, don't you, you know, fall into that. So I sometimes think I call out the right for their BS just as much as I do on the left, which it should be like that. Because I don't want them engaging in the name calling, the calls for violence, the you know, any of the hateful rhetoric either. But you know, and then what you said with the Democrat Party, there's the Democrats and then there's kind of the socialists that are also considered left. I don't like religion in politics. And so it's almost like with Republicans, there's almost like the religious side and the fiscal side on wanting to run the country like a business, whereas others want to focus more on Christianity.
mm.
So it is interesting um, to hear you talk about that stuff that I can also relate to on the right side. And yeah, and in the placing in boxes, I was a vegetarian for 13 years and went to school and everything. So everyone assumed that I was a Democrat all the time, you know, and like, oh, well, you voted this way. It's like, actually, I didn't, though, you know, like, don't assume that, you know, people are
And
able
the
to
same
think in
thing,
the
like
same.
when that's what I don't like about the Democrats, the left, or whatever it is. It's like because
Mhm.
like I'm an immigrant, like they assume that I would believe certain policies or I would like certain things, and that's where like I'm like, yeah, I'm very like cautious about the people on the left, because I don't think they're that honest, honestly, like when they say they support like minorities.
Yeah.
I'm like, I do support minorities, or you're just using them so that you can get votes. That's where, to me, I feel like I'm very like cautious when like I hear
Mhm.
people. Like I want to hear like the politician directly. Like I like Cuomo because I feel like he's very sincere about like
Mhm.
he loves, like as you said, he loves New York, and he loves all kinds of people. Like he talked to everybody, and obviously he's like also like from a descendant of an Italian family, so like he loves like
Yeah.
people from all kinds of cultures. So but a lot of people like on the Democratic side, it's like what Charlie Kirk was talking about, how the left is a scam. I don't disagree with that, honestly, and that's
Yeah.
where like I think we need, like the left needs to do much better, like the Democrats, and really like doing right policies, because yeah, like I
Mhm.
hear a lot of people like they talk to me about like we should have open borders. It's like no, like I'm an immigrant. I don't believe you should just open to anyone should come here. Like also,
Right.
yeah, there are a lot of amazing immigrants. Of course, I believe in immigration. Obviously, otherwise I
Mhm.
would not be here. I love this, but I love this country. I don't want like everybody to just be able to come in this country without you not being able to. Those people are not all people are great. And so it's
Right.
very naive like to believe like open borders. So first of all, you need law. You need to know who is coming into your country. You need to have like checks. You cannot just have like random people walk in and that's it. So obviously I don't support what Trump is doing, like randomly, like I mean, the process is complicated. When people talk
Yeah.
about, oh, he's not giving the process, yes, but also the process works in like for certain people. Like if you're coming at the border and you're like trying to come in, my ex roommate got deported. He was coming here with a
Oh.
tourist visa, but he had been living here for many years with all kinds of visa. Then he was like came with a tourist. He was here for 6 months, and then he also was left and came back, like, and they understood that he was coming here because he
Mhm.
wanted to live here and work here without the proper visa. So when you are like at the airport, it's not that they say, okay, come in into the country and then we're going to go through the court system to see if you should have a visa. No, like if you're coming illegally, like with like the wrong intent, they're going to like send you back. That's very
Yeah.
different. When and there are rules, obviously they say like if you're a certain distance from the border, the due process doesn't work the same way as like, okay, I've been living here for 10 years with visas, all the legal
Yeah.
process. Okay, yeah, I should get some due process if like hopefully a lot of due process if like something
Yeah.
happened to me because I lived here like legally. But if you're just coming from the border, like flying, I know other people like even from Italy, like in the past, like someone I know someone here that was making a movie and want to get all the people from Italy to come here because so that like they're friends. And of course,
Yeah.
because it was independent production, they were not going to have to get visa for all the people. So people just came as a tourist, and they did the project while they were here. And one of them admitted that to the immigration at the airport. So of course the immigration told him you have to go back because you cannot come
Yeah.
here to work. Like there are cases like this, and like yeah, that's yeah, you should not be like, oh, I'll trust that you're a good person, come into the country, work here, and then we'll
Yeah.
see. Like there has to be rules, there has to be a system, obviously. So and so when people like think I'm an immigrant, they think like, oh, you're gonna be happy if like there is an open borders. Yes, would be cheaper for me if I could just come here, not having to go through the system. It's a very complicated system, honestly, and it needs to be
Yeah.
fixed because
Yeah.
it's complicated, and it's like I mean it's also expensive, obviously, um
Yes.
but yeah, like but you should go through the system, and so and that's where like I disagree with a lot of people on the left because yeah,
Mhm.
you like I believe in like those policies, but the way we not the policies like open borders, but like having immigration, but
Yeah.
how you do it, like it's not about like you need to believe in the law, like you need to have a law, and that's it.
Mhm.
It's not like, oh, I just want to be liked by immigrants, come here, let's do policies so
Yeah.
that people, it feels like people pleasing in a way when Democrats are like let's do these policies. Like, yeah, but you need to have laws. That's the
Yeah.
problem. You need to have laws, and hopefully good laws. But yeah.
Yeah. I find myself having to explain this a lot, the process of becoming a citizen. When you have so many people flooding in, those that are all so I personally know people. I've been involved in writing letters of support for people to become citizens. I know how expensive it is. I know how difficult it is. It is a lot of work. And it only makes it harder when you've got all of these people flooding the immigration system. It it could be your visa could expire before you can be seen by a lawyer, and then you know um it's we do need to change it so that people can become citizens in a more reasonable amount of time. And I mean, I know someone who's put $10,000 into it and still is not legal, which is crazy
I
to
mean,
me.
that's what cost my visa, $10,000. Yes. And
Wow.
like the process, well, I mean, it's not the visa per se, but you have to hire a lawyer. It's a complicated process. So you have legal
Mhm.
expenses. The fee per se is not much. But even like for me, when I renew my visa now, like a few years ago compared to previous years, like there is like a processing fee that you can pay extra just to get an answer, like in a quick time, like 2 weeks.
Oh,
So, and
okay.
that increases like every year, pretty much not every year, but like it was like double what it was when I first applied for a visa. So the more people are in the system, obviously, the harder it's going to be for everybody, because that means like
Yeah.
higher fees, longer times. Like before, you could years ago you could have maybe an answer like in 2 3 months, depending on the visa. Obviously, I'm talking about more my visa. You could have
Hmm.
maybe in 2 3 months you could get an answer without paying the extra fee. uh, Last time I was like renewing, that was like people were still waiting for like 6 7 months. So
Yeah.
your visa might expire, and then you don't have like if you're working for a company, then you cannot continue working unless then you pay the extra fee. And again, we're talking about still fairly reasonable fees compared to what now he's bringing a 100,000 fee. I mean,
Yes.
that no one is going to be able to afford. But
No.
that's a visa that where
Hmm.
companies pay for it,
Hmm.
compared to like my visa where like I have to pay for myself and everything. So there are all kinds of visas, all kind of like paths. But yeah, definitely like there are people that have been waiting for like the green card for like 20 years. Like if
Yeah.
you're from specific countries like China and India, where like there is like a huge amount of people that are applying for those, like the wait time is incredible for those specific paths, because every visa has a different path. So like there
Okay.
are some green card paths where you don't have the same wait time as others. Depending on which country you're from, it's a different time. So yeah, definitely, like obviously it needs to be fixed, and there is so much work that needs to be done. But that's where I am, because like Democrats always talk about only the illegal immigration, but I never heard them talking about the H-1B visa
Yes.
that now everybody's talking about. So I'm like, yes, I don't like maybe Trump's approach to these visas, but why didn't you talk about that when you had the
Mhm.
chance? Why you never talk about that? So that's where I'm like, well, yeah, yeah, you had your chance too, and you didn't do that. And again,
Yeah.
also like the H-1B visa changed a lot during the Obama administration, where it became a lottery. So, like,
Okay.
because yeah, because like the H-1B visa, they have like obviously each visa is like a certain amount. Well, not all of visas, but most visas they have a cap on how many they give per year. So then they changed it like during the Obama administration, where like if there are more applications than what
Mhm.
we have available, then everybody goes into a lottery system, and so then they
Okay.
pick randomly between people. So
Yeah.
it's not a meritocracy kind of system. And of course, even all the people that qualify, but there might be some people that maybe, yeah, some people are more worthy of a visa than other people. Like that's where the conversation needs to be. It's not just because
Right.
someone qualified that means it's the best candidate. And we should have still, and maybe I would not be the one getting the visa if I'm not the best case, but you should want like as a country
Yeah.
like a meritocracy kind of system, where like, okay, the best people come in. Now, I believe you should have a system where all kinds of people, because that's also the American dream, where like you start from nothing and you're able to build something. And that was also my experience here. Like, I would not qualify for a visa before coming to this country. Like, I came as a student. So,
Uh-huh.
but before I didn't do, like, I did so many different things, but nothing that like I would be like, okay, I could qualify for a visa. So, like a work visa, I'm talking about. So
Yeah.
came here as a student, and then like as I was here, I start like doing internship opportunities and start working in companies. I was volunteering, and then eventually that path started building for me. And
Mhm.
then I eventually, after a few years, I qualified for like a work visa, and then I applied, and then I got it, and then I
Okay.
renewed it. So one of the cases where like yes, like I didn't qualify for like if you put like that 100,000 cap, I don't have those money. I still don't have
Mhm.
those money. So, but that's the beauty about this country, where like anyone can actually build from nothing something
Yeah.
great. It's like how I was able to make this documentary. I did everything by myself. Like I've done so much in life that I could make a movie by myself.
Yeah.
Obviously, I didn't have money. I didn't have anything. Like I'm still living like month to month, like
Yeah.
paycheck to paycheck. So, but I was able to make this movie without nothing, because how the system is built here, because of capitalism. We're like, okay, I can get a loan, I can get a credit card, I can pay that, I
Right.
can work every day to pay for those fees, I can do everything by myself. So that's also the beauty about this country, why I love it here, the opportunities that you get in this country. So I think that should be preserved also in the visa system, obviously, that not only the
Mhm.
rich people can get in, but obviously you need a meritocracy system where people like, yeah, you have to be able to show that you're doing the right work, you're doing things, and it needs to be difficult, obviously. I'm grateful that the system was very difficult for me, because that allowed, like, forced me to step up, because
Okay. Yeah.
like also coming out of the bubble, like I'm a type of person, like I like working, I'm like a behind the scene type of person, I just like focusing on working. I'm not the I love talking to people, obviously, but I'm not like the networking type of person who goes out and just like, let's make connection or whatever. I just like
Uh-huh.
love working and building things. So, but because of the visa, like to be able to get the visa, I also had to get like news coverage and stuff like that. That forced me out of my bubble. So, like, forced me to do things that I would not do in the past. And now we're here talking about this. And now I made a
Yeah.
documentary, and I'm like, I can do all this thing. And so I think like it's important. It's great that the system is difficult, but obviously, yeah, there needs to be a path to get to all this thing. But like I'm very grateful, honestly, even like for the
Yeah.
difficult times, because really that those helped me to become a better person in general, because things were difficult. So
Yes.
I think people
Yeah.
tend to forget that they people are like always they want like an easy way to do things, but that doesn't build
Mhm.
character. That doesn't yeah, it would be lovely. It would be lovely if we could just be like, oh yeah, like, oh, I'm gonna just do this, and suddenly I'll become rich. Suddenly I'll be do all these things. But that's
Right.
not how life works. You have to work for it and build character. Fail, try
Yeah.
again. Fail, try again. So it's like it's life, and it's beautiful that way. I'm very grateful.
Yeah. I really think that that your story is an important one to share. Just what you've gone through coming to our country, because um, it's a very positive example for people. I could tell that you're thankful for being here. You're putting stuff out there. You're contributing to our country by being here, and I think that you put a positive face to immigration, whereas it's getting so much negative news lately. So, and I
Yeah, and that's the problem that I have with the media. They're always highlighting certain
yeah.
stories. That it's like, okay, you're always showing certain things and not the rest. It's like the other day I was reading an article from one of those big outlets, and they were like, because of this 100,000 fee that Trump
Mhm.
put in, they were like, okay, and David, I'm saying a random name, from Germany feels afraid. It's like, do we need like this big news outlet to talk to someone just to know they are afraid, they are anxious? And that was the extent of their testimony. They were like, oh, this person from this country felt anxious because of this fee. I'm like, really, like who is this person? Like, did you actually reach a random person just to know that they're
Yeah.
anxious? We're sure that everybody's gonna be anxious in this situation. We're not hearing and we're not learning anything from it. Why you're
Yeah.
even mentioning that? That's where weird. It's like I'm getting so many notification. It's like panic here, panic at this visa. Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like we're all having a lot of questions, but we need to also like even when they talk about all the deportation, yeah, you need to put that like in perspective. So like the numbers might be high, but compared to what? Can you tell me how the deportation were last year or in previous
Right.
administrations? And not everybody is not saying that. So when like
Yeah.
yeah, okay, you see this person with the green card got deported, but this didn't just happen during the Trump administration. That's something that could have happened anytime. Like people with
Mhm.
green card, of course, got deported. It can happen. Or if you got even a citizenship and then maybe you were lying on the application, like people were getting deported during Obama too, and so it's not
Yeah.
something new, but because the media is pushing that, yeah, and maybe it's true, maybe like, and of course we are all seeing the stories. A lot of people like that maybe don't need to be deported are getting deported. I mean, situation happen all the time. There are always like
Yeah.
mistakes that can happen in a big system, like it can happen
Yeah.
like, but if you're always just like showing that thing and never putting that in perspective to compare to what it was before or why this person is getting deported, there is always the story, okay, this person is getting deported but they have no idea why.
Yeah.
like and might be true, but if you're only showing those stories and never talking about the other stories, and people never like they were never talking about the deportation as much during Biden or during Obama or something
Mhm.
like that, then it's hard for me to even listen to you, because I feel like I cannot trust you if you're just like showing like for the tariffs, like everybody's like hates
Mhm.
the tariff that the Trump is
Yeah.
doing. Everybody agrees that that is wrong, but
Uh-huh.
Biden did tariffs too. He was like,
Mhm.
but no one cared about them. Like I was checking the other day, like one was like in 2024, so not that long ago. He was increasing like tariffs to China. It's like no one complained when it was happening back then. No one is talking about that.
Yeah.
Like so, it's only bad when Trump is doing. And I agree that maybe if you don't trust specifically a person, you feel like okay, it's a problem when they're doing because you don't trust them, but you trust the other person. I understand that concept, but like if you're only saying no, this is 1000% wrong, but you're
Uh-huh.
saying only because he's doing, but then he needs to be 1000% wrong when the other person is doing too. So
Yeah.
that's why like it's driving me crazy, because it's not about that. That's this the issue that they have with the people, the Democrats. It's not about what they believe is right or wrong. It's who is doing it that makes it right or wrong. And the right does it too, but again, I talk more to the left as we were talking
Yeah.
before. But it's like, yeah, if you believe it like is something like like even in this situation, like Cuomo should have due process. Then if I believe that like he should have due process, I have to agree that also Trump deserved due process when he gets accusation. If you believe like
Right.
people were like when Biden got accusations, they were like, oh, that was political. Okay, so if you believe that I might agree. But if you believe that it was political with Biden, then you need to give a chance to Cuomo, you need to give a chance to Trump, you need to give a chance to anyone who is getting accusation when they have like a position of power like that, or like because yeah, like there could be a lot of
Yeah.
reason why someone is making an accusation against you when you are in a specific position. So if you're
Right.
giving the benefit of the doubt to someone, then you have to give it to also the people that you don't like.
Yep. Yep. I agree with that. Um you so I the as far as the immigration, there was a point that I was thinking of where at one point Obama was actually deporting more people than the Trump administration for several months. And no one talks about that, like no one seemed to think it was bad when Obama did it. But also, Trump himself isn't going to say like, "Oh, I'm not even deporting as many people as Obama," because he doesn't want to make himself look less successful. So sometimes they almost shoot themselves in the foot. And I do think some of that legal stuff is coming back around with like Letitia James and so the double standard or whatever. So I guess we'll see so Cuomo still has how many cases? Did you, several? Is he?
It's hard to say what cases he have. Like you're talking about like the lawsuit that he still has on, so,
Yeah.
like that he's still dealing
Yeah.
with. I mean, there were two of the accuser who sued him, and they
Mhm.
both dropped the case before they were
Okay.
supposed to. The one I was saying that they were supposed, that was two different accuser that did separate lawsuits, so they both dropped them. So they both settled with the state, so they got some money from the state because the state settled with them, not Cuomo. Cuomo never settled
Okay.
with anyone, but because they dropped the lawsuit, obviously now. So Cuomo sued one of them, and then there is another one that was with the state trooper, so that one is still ongoing. So they sued, like this person sued Cuomo, and and they're still going like back and forth because now they have to. Um, like a lot of third parties, like some of these women who dropped the lawsuit are
Mhm.
supposed to be under oath to testify in the other case for the other person, so they're also like third
Oh,
parties in other lawsuits. So that's still
yeah.
going back and forth, so it's like they're still like dealing with terms, how many hours, how many question you can ask, what question you can ask, so they're going back and forth on that. But that's that lawsuit. There were a bunch of lawsuits for nursing homes, so that there were like a few
Oh,
people that then they did a class action, but that was dismissed by the judge, which again, and that's one
uh-huh.
of like the issue I have, like, so these people that they've been accusing him and they're going to the media accusing him, saying that their father, it's different people, their father died in nursing home because of Cuomo, like the March directive or
Yeah.
advisory. So so they were saying that he was responsible for the death because, so like, for your audience that doesn't know the full backstory. So during COVID, Cuomo did an advisory like where he was saying, because this started because, like, there were all the experts that were saying that hospitals would reach capacity, and so the
Mhm.
system would be overwhelmed. So like if the hospitals were like overwhelmed, then even like if random people had like heart attack or other issue, they not would not be able to be treated. So that was the
Right.
emergency back then. If all these people from nursing homes or in general with COVID cases would overwhelm the system. So that's when they did this advisory saying, if you're stable, if you don't need any more hospital care, then you should be sent back to the nursing home. Or I mean, you can go back home if you're like if someone can take you home. You don't have to be in a nursing home if your
Yeah.
family want to take you, obviously. So, but then the advisor was saying the nursing home cannot discriminate people just because they had the previous COVID situation, as long as they're stable and as long as the nursing home can properly separate them. So he
Okay.
wrote this advisory, and so, but also I want to remember, because people like always talk about this advisory, but the fact, like, nursing home, there were rules already in place that they were supposed to separate people. I think where people get it
Yeah.
wrong is like they think, okay, all the people from the nursing, like from the hospital, came and brought these COVID positive cases to the nursing home. But I mean, if you were even like an older person and you got COVID, they would not send you to the hospital, obviously. You would stay in the nursing home with your
Mhm.
positivity, and they would separate you, and they would have to do all the precaution, keep in a separate room, masks every time. So not all the people that got COVID in a nursing home would go to the hospital, obviously. So where I think people like think, okay, the cases are coming from the hospital, that's where like it's like the nursing home was supposed to separate these people and treat them. And to me, if that didn't happen, it's on the nursing home. It's not on the advisory. That's where, to me, I have
Totally.
the issue with the thing, because the rules were in place. Like, and again, we're talking about a nursing home. We're not talking about a coffee place that like
Right.
that where people act like the nursing home is like, okay, you don't have any rules. Like there were a lot of strict rules in even before COVID, because like there could be this kind of situation
Mhm.
with any kind of disease or any kind of thing. So there are specific rules happening in nursing homes where like
Yeah.
you're supposed to have a protocol. So if the people came from the hospital and you knew that they were positive from COVID, they could still have some symptoms, the nursing home were supposed to do the proper protocol or work with the state, because that's what they said. They could call the Department of Health of New York State, and if they couldn't properly care for them, the Department of Health would find a different solution for these people. If they didn't, it's on the
Okay.
nursing home for me rather than that. So, but that's the situation. So there were some people, and one of them is Janice Dean, who is like she works for Fox News, like the
Okay.
weather. So and so these people, they're saying that their father, their people from their family died in a nursing home because of like this Cuomo director, like advisory. So some people came back
Okay.
to the nursing home with that. So they sued Cuomo for like wrongful death, and the judge said, especially because of the timing, when this advisory was done, when the first people came into the nursing home, it's impossible that the who brought these people was because of the advisory that Cuomo did. So the judge dismissed the lawsuit. Now,
Yeah. Yeah.
now the judge already dismissed the lawsuit, but they're still going back and forth. These people still, and if you believe that the judge did wrong, please, yeah, there is a system, go through that. But what I have issues then when people like bypass the system, bypass the law, and find other ways to get their justice in a way.
Yeah.
And so there was this situation actually during the primary where Brad Lander, one of the candidates, he called one
Uh-huh.
of these people after the lawsuit was already dismissed and said, stand up to this person, and said to Cuomo, you have to apologize for this person for killing his father. After there was already a lawsuit dismissed
Oh,
from the judge saying that this could not have happened. So, but of course, why do you think Brad Lander didn't know about that the lawsuit was dismissed? He knew about
right.
that. He was just doing this big thing so that he could like make Cuomo look bad when he looked like the hero. And it was like, oh, Cuomo, why you're not apologizing for this person? And the people at home, they don't know the full story. They don't know
Yeah.
what happened if they knew. So it's so dishonest when they do this thing because they know what they're doing. Brad Lander knew what he
Yeah.
was doing when he brought this person up, making Cuomo look bad in front of the camera. And Cuomo obviously said that thing. He responded and say, actually, lawsuit was dismissed and that. But when the clip gets shared online, do you think they're going to add Cuomo's response? They're going to just show that part where Cuomo was not apologizing for this person. And it's so
Yeah.
dishonest. And that's so when you actually start looking into this, and I know I hear people, they're like, oh, Brad Lander is great. And now Brad Lander is also still going, getting like arrested because he goes out like outside of ICE facility and like
Oh,
he got arrested the second time, like it was the other day, because he's like showing he cares for the immigrants. It's like people think they just see that part. They're like, he's an amazing
yeah.
person, but I'm like, I know about the nursing home case, and if you're doing that, that's very shady. Like that's very
Yeah.
wrong. You're obviously taking advantage of the fact that the people at home don't have the right information. So
Right.
it's bad. It's bad. It's like it's all this
Yeah.
PR stunt kind of thing. Like it's
Yes. Yes. That's such a huge portion of campaigning, I feel like, is just the PR stunts. It's
yeah.
is there a particular message that you want to send with your documentary that you want the audience to, or anything in particular you want the audience to pay attention to when watching?
I mean, to me, it's really about like I want people to think. That's why I did this documentary. Like the documentary is like an editing of like people talking. It's kind of look like as if people are in the same room responding to each other, but they're not. They don't even know each other at all, obviously, because they're interviews in different places like the state or anything. So, but because they kind of like the editing is made so it kind of look like a conversation, like a debate between people in a way. Like they go from one topic to
Uh,
the next one. Uh, it to me, it's really a way to like people. I want people to listen to what other people have to say. Like whether you agree with them or you don't agree, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Just listen to other people, see where they're coming from. And I want people to think. I want people to realize that maybe what they think they know about these Cuomo topics or whatever other topics they have going on in their life might not be the truth. And to question things and go back to a time where, like, okay, we're not reacting to, okay, someone said something. Oh, now we have to drop everything and just think about this. Like,
Yeah.
let's process, let's have a conversation, let's understand what really is important, and be open to other people's opinion, to other people's ideas, and like, yeah, let's have a conversation. And that's what I love about this documentary. It's really like when people watch it, they just like, they start talking about these topics. I want people to be
Yeah.
open to like what other people have to say, to be open to have a debate, obviously, and talk about, because that's the only way you grow. It's about listening to other people and being exposed to, you know, other opinions, other ideas, and you don't have to agree with those ideas, but try to understand where people are coming from, and maybe you're going to realize
Yeah.
that they are not those monsters, even if they believe something that you don't agree with. Understand where they're coming
Yeah.
from. So
Where can people watch your documentary?
Apple TV, Google Play, and YouTube, and it's also for
Okay.
free on Zumo, and should be by the
Okay.
end of the month sometime in another platform, but it's not there yet. So yeah, for now that's where you can watch it, those platforms. So yeah.
Sounds good. And what is it called again for the audience?
It's called This Is What New Yorkers Say. So it's very telling.
Yeah.
It's also kind of a provocation. Obviously, it's not everything that New Yorkers say, but it's New Yorkers talking about these topics. So yeah,
I like the title. I think it's intriguing.
great.
So.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It was great talking to you.
Yes, anytime you have something to talk about, you come back because
Great.
I mean this whole interview is very interesting. So,
Yeah, I'm happy
yeah,
to
and I
come
really
back and
appreciate
talk
it.
about more, see the development of the story.
Yes, yes. Oh, especially after the election. Oh,
Yeah,
we'll see how that goes. So, all right. Well, it was
great.
a pleasure and I will talk to you soon.
All right. Bye.